For years now, lost media has been a hot topic on the internet. Typically, people have their favorite pieces, typically well-known pieces like Hitogata, Clockman, or Metropolis. Still, there are many more pieces that, while not as well known, deserve not only equal time in the spotlight, but just as much chance to be found. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back, Chimera crew, to volume 64 of Lesser Known Lost Media, the show where I, Mr. Sean, cover lost media that you just don't hear about as much here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, how this works is I start with 4 family-friendly, safe-for-work pieces of lesser-known lost media, take a brief ad break, and then go into my 5th, spicier piece. Alright, so, for those of you who aren't new, you've done this 63 times before, let's get into it. At number 1, we have the Archie Comedy Hour, partially found song segments of CBS animated series based on the comic book series 1969 to 1970. So the Archie Comedy Hour was the second in the Archie series of cartoons from Filmation, debuting on CBS during the fall of 1969 and ending its run in early 1970. The series was notable for being the first televised appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, who later spawned her own successful sitcom in the 1990s. It was also notable for featuring song segments from 2 top 10 singles, Jingle Jangle and Sugar Sugar, the latter being named the number one song of 1969. The series introduced all new material and show styles to the pre-existing Archie formula, such as a sideshow segment, and as well as reruns of the Archie show near the end of each program. While other Filmation-produced Archie series are pretty much widely available on DVD, this one has mostly escaped being found. When it was time for syndication in the mid-1970s, all the shows produced were cut up and merged into one package simply known as the Archies, meaning a lot of material for each show that wasn't used was left on the cutting room floor. When L'Oreal sold Filmation and its production material to Hallmark, they converted the basic shows they had into PAL and trashed the original film elements, audio elements, etc. The original Comedy Hour was not included in these transfers, and only some segments from the show were released as bonuses on the Archie's Funhouse DVD set. No full episodes have been found since the show ended its run in January of 1970. But the show's most desired aspect are the song segments that were included in each episode. These were known to have different / early mixes of songs featured on the Archie's studio albums. Most notable are the recollections of the track Nursery Rhyme, had an entire intro featuring hand claps rather than the cold open that is on the album, and the segments for Sugar Sugar, Jingle Jangle, and Get on the Line can be found on the Archie's Funhouse DVD, with the latter having credits over the video. The segment for You Know I Love You has been recovered from an overseas broadcast of the Archie Sabrina show, which also had a song segment bumper included, while the segment for Whoopie TIA has had several animation cells found for sale. The rest have only been known to exist from the memories of those who saw them. And just a quick list of the songs known to be lost. Out of a total of 17 songs that were known, only 4 have been found, so missing still are Melody Hill, Hot Dog, Bicycles, Roller Skates, and You, Inside Out, Upside Down, Everything's Alright, She's Putting Me Through Changes, Whoopie TIA, Nursery Rhyme, Senorita Rita, Look Before You Leap, Sugar and Spice, Archie's Party, and Who's Your Baby. While I'm not personally a fan of it, I know that due to Riverdale, classic Archie has had kind of a resurgence in popularity as people watch that god-awful show and want to see the stuff that it was based on. So knowing that this much, because the Archies were a band, and some people might not know that, but having a lot of this stuff of their music currently lost, I'd definitely love to see all this found. I mean, I am a fan of classic Archie. Coming in at number 2, we have Brother Martin, Servant of Jesus, lost race film from 1942. Brother Martin's Servant of Jesus is a 1942 religious film written by, directed by, and starring Spencer Williams. The film belongs to the race film genre, consisting of an all-black cast and tailored to the African-American interests of the time. It's also noteworthy for containing a version of the famous spiritual song, "Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Seen." Now, the premise of the film is that Williams plays an uncle who discusses the life of Martin de Porres with his niece. De Porres was a late 16th century Peruvian who was elevated to sainthood in 1962 by Pope John XXIII. Williams directed a series of religious films in the 1940s, and this one came with this tagline, "The story of a Spanish word for black that loved God." I definitely can't get away with saying that word. Now, very odd for lost films by, directors who directed multiple films. Oddly enough, this is the only film by Williams considered lost. No film archives are known to hold a print, but a trailer is known to survive and has been seen by Judith Wiesenfeld, author of Hollywood Be Thy Name, African American Religion in American Film, 1929 to 1949. She does reference it shortly in the book, saying, "The advertising trailer for Brother Martin gives little sense of the film's narrative, instead focusing on introducing the figure of Martin de Porres and the elements of his history that led to his beatification." As of August 16th, 2022, the UCLA Film and Television Archives uploaded this trailer on their official YouTube account, making it available to be watched online. The 3-minute and 53-second trailer reveals more details about the lost film, implying that the film's title references to an Afro-Peruvian Dominican saint named Martin de Porres that lived in the 16th century, and that Williams, who plays Uncle Jed in the film, tells the story and narratives about said Saint Brother Martin. And as of 2024, so right now when this is being made, there are still no known copies of the entire film, and it is still considered lost. I know that lost films get a lot, if anything, they are the most talked about lost media and kind of steal the spotlight from potentially other topics, but I do think there is just something so interesting about lost films in that, nowadays, we've got VHS, we've had VHS, DVD, Laserdisc, streaming, torrents, all that. It seems so hard in this day and age to think that a modern film could ever become lost. And the thing is, it used to happen all the time. There are just movies out there and we can't see them because they don't exist anymore. And that's excessively interesting to me. And since you're watching this channel, it probably is to you too. At number 3, we have BS Fire Emblem Arachnia Saga, partially lost original Satellaview version of Fire Emblem New Mystery of the Emblem, bonus content, 1997. BS Fire Emblem Arachnia Saga, also known as a Japanese title I'm not even going to try to pronounce, or also referenced as BS Fire Emblem by fans, is a 4-episode Soundlink game consisting of original maps that serve as a prequel to Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. Released on the Satellaview add-on for the Super Famicom, it originally aired from September 28, 1997 to October 25, 1997, and saw 2 reruns. The first one occurred 1 month after its initial airing, and another in 1999. It was developed by Intelligent Systems and published by ST.Giga. It is notable for being the earliest game in the franchise to utilize voice acting, predating Fire Emblem Path of Radiance by 8 years. This game never saw any release outside of Japan. The gameplay uses the same engine that Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem used, but each episode focuses on characters other than Marth himself, with at least one of them serving as the Lord of the episode they appear in. The Lord of every episode has its own item storage, and as per usual with the mainline games, the Lord's death is an automatic game over, and the map starts over from the beginning. Battle animations are permanently turned off, and most of the dialogue is only spoken through voice acting, which is done through the Satellaview system. Each episode also has a different set of playable characters, with Nina being playable twice. The original broadcast of the episodes included cutscene graphics that show up in the beginning and ending of each. They were drawn by Rika Suzuki, who who would later contribute to other Fire Emblem related media. Unlike other Fire Emblem games whose chapters must be completed through various means like seizing a throne or castle or routing the enemy, the only way to clear an episode is to survive the entire broadcast as well as collecting points. Defeating the boss of each chapter does not end the broadcast, but the chapter can still spawn more enemies for the rest of it. The player obtains points through fighting enemies, opening chests, and visiting villages. Units in this game are recruited differently depending on how much time passed throughout the broadcast. At least one or two characters automatically join the player's army. After a broadcast is ended, the player is given a password based on their score that they must send to ST Giga through a postcard before a set due date. It is unknown as to what purpose these passwords have or if they have any use at all. Now, again, this is lost media, so what is the availability of this? Well, since the discontinuation of the Satellaview at the turn of the millennium, as with all other BS-X games, the game fell into obscurity. However, in 2010, it was remade as bonus content included with Fire Emblem New Mystery of the Emblem under the title New Arachnia Saga. And again, there's a Japanese title that I'm not even going to try. Albeit without the voice acting. The bonus content can be unlocked after completing all the prologue chapters. This is the first time a BS-X game was released in any form other than the Super Famicom. ROM dumps consisting of the actual game and maps were preserved and can still be played, albeit through a complicated setup, but because the game was recorded live, the episodes in their original format remain completely lost and would most likely never resurface in ROM form. However, video footage of the original format are known to exist on Nico Nico Doga, and were later uploaded by Kiddo on YouTube in 2013. In addition, all of the cutscene images also survive in better quality and can be found in Serene's Forest's image gallery. So this one, I mean, we still don't have the ability to do anything with the original format, but it sounds like this one has been fairly well documented, ROM'd, and, you know, overall you can still kind of get the experience of it, which I think is really good. While we might not have the original format ROMs, we've kind of got it as close as we possibly can. I know games on the Satellaview are kind of a mixed bag if they can be recovered or not. So I feel like as far as, you know, as good, this is as good as it gets in some cases, and I'm kind of happy with the state of things. Sure, it'd be great if we could find the original formats, but I don't know. I feel like this one, if you want to experience this, you still can, which is nice. Personally, I think Fire Emblem is a game for bigger brains than mine, and I'm gonna probably not. But, you know, if you're a Fire Emblem fan, good for you. This, at least you can still experience this mostly unaltered. Alright, coming in at number 4, we've got Gadgets, partially found show tape recordings of animatronics from the 1980s. Gadgets, also known as Gizmos, was a small restaurant chain located in the United States. The restaurant featured animatronics from the popular multimedia franchise Looney Tunes, known as the Looney Tunes Revue. There was also an animatronic named Sammy Sands located at the lounge. Now, due to high production costs, the Gadgets restaurants were not making enough profit, and thusly went out of business. Animatronics during this time period were accompanied with show tapes, which contained programming information and audio such as music and dialogue. There were allegedly 55 show tapes made for the Looney Tunes Revue, and at least 6 made for Sammy Sands. Some audio has surfaced of these show tapes, and there's credence to the theory that some are in the hands of private collectors. However, with the vast majority of them being undocumented, it's unsure how many still survive. Now, a little bit of history. So, the first Gadgets location, known as Gizmos, opened in 1981 in Ocean Township, New Jersey. This version of the show did not have any animatronics. However, the location would eventually be renamed to Gadgets in 1982, and another Gadgets location opened in Reading, Pennsylvania, Berkshire Mall. 2 more locations would soon open, one in Niles, Ohio, and another in Towson, Maryland. The Niles, Ohio location opened in December of 1982, and the Townsend, Maryland location opened in January of 1983. Westbury, New York would be the first freestanding Gadgets location, as the other 3 stores were located in malls across America. Following this, 5 more locations would open in Springfield, Ohio, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Rochester, New York, Aurora, Colorado, and Houston, Texas. There was also a traveling show for carnivals with the animatronics located inside of a trailer. There were plans for as many as 150 Gadgets restaurants to be launched around the country, but this idea was short-lived. Financial problems started to show up as early as July of 1984. During this time, a new concept was launched titled Gadgets Cafe. These restaurants were much smaller and did not have the Looney Tunes review. This was done to save on the cost of maintaining animatronics and because of target demographic issues. Many of the patrons who went to Gadgets were not families with small children, but instead young adults wishing to enjoy the lounge. Needless to say, they were not the target audience for the Looney Tunes review. Sammy Sands was the only animatronic that was kept at the Gadgets Cafe. The remaining Gadgets locations did not remain open for long, and by the early 1990s they were all defunct. In regards to stage layouts, the Reading PA location would feature a prototype version of the Looney Tunes review. Included with this prototype version was Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Exploded Daffy, and a separate stage for other characters. This separate stage functioned as a turntable, with one side featuring Yosemite Sam, and some speculating the other side contained Sylvester the Cat. Daffy Duck was also on a turntable. When a dynamite prop fell during one of the shows, strobe light effects and a smoke machine would go off. Bomb shelter doors would cover the Daffy animatronic, and once the display was finished, the Exploded Daffy animatronic would be revealed. The location also featured a Sammy Sands animatronic. Now, the Niles, Ohio and Townsend, Maryland locations had by far the most complex Gadgets animatronic stage show. There were 12 animatronic characters in total. These included the characters of Bugs, Daffy, Exploded Daffy, Porky Pig, Pepe Le Pew, Speedy Gonzales. There were actually 2 Speedy Gonzales animatronics, one on the ceiling and one on the ground, Foghorn Leghorn, Henry Hawk, Tasmanian Devil, Yosemite Sam, Sylvester and Sylvester Jr., and Tweety Bird. At the time of this video, 2 photos of Foghorn Leghorn and 1 low-quality photo of Tasmanian Devil have surfaced online. These 2 were only featured in the Niles and Townsend locations, and are considered even rarer than the other animatronics in the Looney Tunes review. According to sources, Foghorn Leghorn played the drums, and Tasmanian Devil played the upright bass. This version, as well as all other versions that would be introduced afterwards, introduced a revolving center stage backdrop and a tarp backdrop that would lower occasionally. As previously mentioned, all of the Looney Tunes review shows after this would remove Foghorn Leghorn and Tasmanian Devil, leaving the roster at 10. The animatronics themselves were built by Advanced Animations in Danbury, Connecticut, and who later were bought out by Warner Brothers and renamed to Warner Technologies. Sammy Sands had at least 6 different show tapes, each running at about 12 minutes long. As a lounge singer, he would entertain the audience by singing different songs and joking about different topics. Sources claim that over 55 show tapes were made for the Looney Tunes review. In an interview with Mel Blanc, he states that every restaurant will have 50 different entertainment programs, so there won't be a lot of repetition. Bugs and Porky and Sylvester and the rest are involved in little storylines, sketches, and song fests. We're doing special programs for all the holidays, Christmas, 4th of July, Mother's Day, and all the rest as special attractions at the restaurants, and considering how many of these characters Mel Blanc voiced, he would know. Now, as to the availability, although many of the Looney Tunes review animatronics were allegedly destroyed, the only show that has been found is the portable show, where the animatronics have been sold off to private collectors. One of the Looney Tunes review show tapes has surfaced online, albeit only partially found. Part of the Salute to Movies show tapes has partially surfaced with a short clip of Porky singing Burn Free, coming from a news report on the restaurant. Another show tape titled The Fabulous 50s Show only has the last segment online, and as of the time of this video, none of the show tapes for Sammy Sands have surfaced. Now, a digital recording of the first 3 show tapes in a lossy but direct capture can be found on archive.org. There is a link on the Lost Media Wiki article, and they were uploaded by Pasnotruk on YouTube and Instagram. This one I find very interesting. Until I was researching this video, I'd never heard of Gadget's Restaurant. I'd never heard of the Looney Tunes review, despite there apparently being some somewhat near me, when I was growing up in Ohio in the 90s. But however, I never got as far as Niles or Springfield at that age, and it sounds like I would have been quite young. I would have been about 6 years old when these started to close. It sounds like it was a very ambitious project, possibly too ambitious for the time, and while I certainly was a fan of Looney Tunes at the time, I definitely think the 80s and 90s is when their popularity started to plummet a little bit due to the popularity of Disney, and that's how we got such great things as like Space Jam, where they were trying to like reinvigorate the Looney Tunes franchise, and to an extent it did work with the original Space Jam, but I feel like the Looney Tunes weren't a big enough draw for families to go to what was in all likelihood an expensive restaurant to eat at, especially if they were having financial issues and had high overhead because of these animatronics. But I always loved animatronic shows as a kid. I loved Chuck E. Cheese. I loved like the Country Bear Jamboree at Disney. Definitely wish I could have gone to one of these back in the day, but unfortunately did not happen, and from the sounds of it, never will. But there is, I would love to see full tapes and be able to listen to these shows. I mean, they even had Mel Blanc, which is awesome. Alright guys, here's the part where I take a little bit of time to talk about, my channel. Sometimes I'll try to sell you something. I'm not going to do that today. Today, I'm going to ask a simple favor, and that favor is to please, if you can, click subscribe. If you've already subscribed, share the video with your friends. Click the like button, leave a comment, get this video visible to as many people on the platform as possible. Show the algorithm that this channel is worth watching. We are only 40 subscribers away from our goal for the year of 1,000 subscribers, and I think that if you subscribe, if you like, if you comment, and if you share the videos, the series, the channel to as many people as you know who might enjoy it, we can get to that 1,000th subscriber before the end of October. I would love it if we reach the goal by Halloween, guys, and I think we can do it. So go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, share. Let's get it done. And with that being said, let's get to today's spicy post. Alright guys, coming in for our spicy piece today, we actually have a found piece of Lost Media, which I don't normally cover, but this was brought to my attention by a viewer of the channel who has their own YouTube channel called Random Furby's Lost Wave Basement, or Lost Wave Basement is the channel title. The user is Random Furby's Lost Wave Basement, and they found an obscure, unknown CD from 2004 called Stick Your Finger in My Asshole by the Beaver Chucky Band. While very little is known about this album, it seems to kind of be one from a small band in the Daytona, Florida area, and up until the Random Furby uploaded the entire album onto YouTube, it was pretty much unknown. In a post made to r/Lostwave by Random Furby, they stated, "So today I decided to look through my parents' CDs in hopes of finding some of the bands that I enjoy listening to myself, Scorpions, Bon Jovi, Prince, etc. I came across multiple CDs of bands that I couldn't find much about online, but I decided to look into and post about this one first, since it caught my attention the most out of all of them due to its strange/vulgar title and track list. The only thing I could find about it was a single YouTube video that was uploaded 12 years ago of the 8th track titled Uncle Jim's Simple Legendary Rules. One of the 3 comments on the video asked the uploader if they have any more songs from the album, since their copy that they had gotten from a man in Daytona named John, who, judging by another comment, is the guitarist, does not work anymore. I can only assume that my dad got this in Daytona as well, since I know he used to take trips there to watch the Daytona 500. The next time I see him, I will ask him if he remembers anything about this CD. The back of the CD and disc itself has a web address, but it does not work anymore, and the Wayback Machine did not really help. The back also says Rock Monster Records, which has nothing online, but it says that all of the recording was done at Appleton Studios by someone named Bill Bruce. The cover art has many low-quality pictures of people and a thank you note that reads, "Beaver Chucky would like to thank everybody who made this whole thing possible. Double B Chucky, Curly Chucky, and Boss Lady Chucky. Also thanks to all of those who were in the inspiration behind the songs. You know who you are. Sister Diane, Neighbor Jimmy, Uncle Jim, Billy, Fishin' Jim, the Nameless Chick in Florida, Principal Chucky, Seth Fifth O. Kessler, Kuda, Andy Red Bra Moore, and all of the other folks who have gotten drunk and been there when the magic moments happened, especially to the fabulous and understanding Mrs. Chucky. Most could not handle putting up with the Beaver the way you do. The Beav would also like to thank his full-time friend and Supet network that's always there to tell him when the new song sucks. And when they're good, Moron Chucky, Buck Chucky, Nun Chucky, Bad Joke Chucky, and Big Bad Bishop Chucky. One of the biggest thanks goes to the Beaver's spiritual guru and advisor, Tyler Heyman Coe. Without you, your proper guidance and direction, I'd just be another Beaver on the street somewhere. Thanks, Beaver Chucky." I will try and see if I can post the rest of the songs here if I can figure out how to rip a CD. Sorry if this is a long post. This is my first time posting on a Lost Wave / Lost Media subreddit. I have been obsessed with Lost Media and Lost Wave for years now and have never been in a search before since I never know where to start. I'm so excited to have found some lost music, even if it's something that I would never had much interest in listening to myself, since the comments on the YouTube video show that there's at least 3 people out there who want to hear this album. And indeed, Random Furby did. I'm actually going to leave a link to their channel in the description of this video, so if you would like to listen to the album Stick Your Finger in My Asshole by Beaver Chucky, you know what, you can. And I think I wanted to include this one even though it is found because, again, there is so much media out there that we don't even know is lost. There was definitely a time in the early 2000s where people trying to make it as musicians could make their own CD. They could record it. You could get a recording studio. You could record it where you could set up one. You could record an album. You could, perform in areas like, say, Daytona. You could even, as a busker, you could be performing, and you could, sell people your CD if they liked it. My parents were on a trip to France once, and apparently in a small town, there was a man calling himself Sasso who was playing the flute and selling recordings of the flute thing. And it's a beautiful CD, clearly self-published, self-made, and my parents bought one, and I should probably borrow that and do the same and upload it. It's probably lost media, I don't know, I've never looked, but when you think about all the people who did this, all these people, sometimes you got some really crazy ideas, like in the case here, Beaver Chucky. Let's go over the track list real quick of this CD. Again, all of which can be listened to on Random Furby's page. But the track list is as followed: That Damned STD, Stick Your Finger in My Asshole, Sister Diane, She's Comfortable with Her Lesbianism, Too Drunk to Drive, Whiskey Dick, Whacking Off the Dog, TP Blues, Uncle Jim's Simple Legendary Rules, Gone with the Wind, and We're All Gonna Die. Cards on the table, I have yet to go over and listen to Beaver Chucky, but I'm sure it's going to be a trip. And I think this kind of thing is really cool because, again, more or less, to anyone who remembered Beaver Chucky, until this person, until Random Furby here uploaded these songs, if you had been to Daytona and you had probably heard Beaver Chucky performing in a bar or something, and if you hadn't bought the CD, you probably were just shit out of luck if you wanted to listen to some Beaver Chucky. But, thanks to people doing stuff like this, media is being preserved, and things that we didn't even know were missing are being, are making sure they see the light of day, and that anybody who wants to listen or watch or what have you, who wants to consume this media, now has the opportunity to do so, which is important. Archive your shit, people. In the words from Luis from Ant-Man, back it up. Back it up. Though I think he meant something different in the context. And that's the video, everybody. I do hope you enjoyed this one. I do hope you'll enjoy the next one next week. Again, I do one of these every Friday, as well as 2 other videos during the week, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, as well as a new short every day. And so, please do hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. Let's get this channel. Let's go gangbusters, guys. Again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much to my continued one and only Patreon patron, J-Dog, who is a member of the Beta Club. Thank you so much for your continued support, J-Dog. If you would like to get a shout out like J-Dog and your name in a scrolling list at the end of every video, do check out my Patreon or consider becoming a channel member. The $1 tier gets you access to all member exclusive content, and then the higher tiers get you things like shout outs and your name on the list and things like that. Again, it's all listed. Go check it out either here on the channel or over on Patreon. Either way, guys, whatever you do, I hope sincerely that you will come back for the next video. And until then, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!
Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud. Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud.